Hello everybody, welcome back. So I thought I'd start the stream 3 minutes earlier, might as well. And I was also thinking I might as well just open it up to the public. You know, let them have a little taste. This is all I'm going to get at the moment, which is fine. It's exactly as expected. You know, it's what else are we going to do? Watch the price go down for these anemic little bounces. To be fair, the bounce at the moment might not be anemic. It actually might end up being reasonable. I think I said at some point on the Telegram today, someone was saying, is it the right time to set up down bots? And I'd probably say not yet. Down bots you could set up from $43,000 and maybe even, I suppose, bordering the $44,000. Bitcoin's still plenty of room to push. Also plenty of room to drop. So it's in my opinion, clearly, as we've been saying for a while, that we're going to downtrend for a while. Now, this little bounce here on Bitcoin only really shows relevance on the weekly, and it might be a coincidence, but it is bouncing on that 10 exponential on the weekly. So this could be a decent little weekly closure for it, I suppose. Is it enough to push us anywhere above these candle body highs, which is 44,000? I don't think so. If we get to 44,000, I would probably toy with the idea of setting up down bots and maybe even shorting it. Ethereum's different. It is different. Ethereum is actually still pretty banging. No bearish divergence on the money flow index. Only one drive on the weekly RSI. So interesting. And I would probably say that actually, even though Bitcoin bounced from here, I think it's more likely that we see Ethereum bounce in from the daily Bollinger Band. So, as I was saying yesterday or the day before, that Ethereum might be looking for a little bounce. And you know, maybe we have continuation on that to those areas 2,800, 3,000, 3,400. That is, it's not unlikely. Let's put it like that. It's not unlikely, but at the moment this is still a consolidation. You can draw a trend line in it if you like, and we can make it as messy or as neat as you wish. So this is the kind of vibe that we're looking at. Support. Resistance, current resistance sitting around just below 2,600. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll open this up, see if anyone else is bothered. How do I do that? Is it around here somewhere? How do I do that? Yes, unlisted. We'll make it public. There we go. I don't do this very often, but I might as well. Keep, just share the wealth a little bit. It's only one little free stream. Everybody else, don't worry. I won't make a habit of it. Right, so let's get stuck in then, shall we? So that is your bounce. Again, Bollinger Band Center seems more likely that Ethereum is the one that's carrying this bounce rather than Bitcoin, although Bitcoin is bouncing from that 10 exponential on the weekly. And if Ethereum's doing the bounce, then I imagine that altcoins will bounce more. So, but is it something I'm willing to go crazy on? No. Like I say, we've worked hard these last year to 18 months to get all the gains that we've got. It would be sad to see it lost in the hope for a extension or a continuation of any of this rally. But I wouldn't blame you for trying. I really wouldn't. And I mean, just for full transparency, I have opened up a few little trades. I mean, these are minuscule. I mean, they are like no more than 5% of my overall balance that I've got more or less in across the board in mostly USD. Some stable coins. So some of the smaller exchanges that I've used, they're the ones that I'm trading on. And it's only because they're in Tether and I don't have the capacity to exchange it for fiat, basically, at the moment. So, yeah, I've opened up about, rather than saying the actual figure, about 5%. 5% trades on this bounce at the moment. And I'm looking for it to continue generally throughout the weekend. And the trades that I've opened up are mostly XRP. Right, so let's have a little look at these questions then. And by the way, I've got my cat on my lap again, so he's not well. To be fair, I actually don't think he's got long left. I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but he's only got 3 teeth. One of his 3 is falling out at the moment. He's taking about 70 trips to the toilet every day now, so I don't think he's got much long left in him. So if he wants to spend his evenings listening to me doing these streams, which I'm sure there's better ways to for a cat to spend his final days, that's what we're going to let him do. So if it becomes a problem, I'll kick him out. But for the moment, he's quite comfy. So we'll leave him to it. Right, so let's have a look. So hi CC, I'm in a leveraged trade in Sol with liquidation price of $72. Where's Sol going to go to? Let's have a look. So I would never consider liquidation as something to even think about, right? So it sounds to me like you don't really particularly care about being liquidated, so that's fine. But always think about stop losses. I hopefully that's what you're referring to, a stop loss. The liquidation was somewhere down here. What was it, about 72? Okay, so a fair old drop. Right, so Sol actually looks quite good, to be honest. Just like Ethereum is bouncing from the Bollinger Band, Sol is bouncing from a 50 exponential, which is actually part of a Golden Cross retest. So actually that looks pretty good. And if you're going to get a V-shaped recovery, this would be one of the places that you would get it from. Either this or this. So, as I said, I think that we are going to get a bit of a continuation through the weekend, maybe selling off towards Sunday evening. Oh, one other thing I should mention actually is the Dixie. Dixie is looking like it wants to finally close red. As we were talking about, where we're going to, what's Dixie doing? We worked on a death cross retest, and that's where we hit the 200 exponential. 200 simple has been closed below 4 days in a row. The only reason I've got this symmetrical triangle in there is just to show where the supports and resistances are. So we might be looking for a support down here, but if we close red, it would be a good look for continuation for alts and Bitcoin as well throughout this weekend. So if we're talking about this particular coin, there is a formation. It is again another symmetrical triangle, which allows for the resistance to be kicking in around $100 again. If you break that, then you would probably look to extend it to like 113, and look, at best, you'd be looking for a brand new local high on this one if we actually break out from here. It's a breakout trade. That's a decent move so far. So let's have a look if there's any other things backing that up. So tiny, but still there, tiny, but realistic bullish divergence. Same on the money flow index also. Let's take it to a 4-hourly to see anything like that on the 4-hourly. We did we? No, we didn't actually really. So it's still the formation trade. Plenty of resistance above us on this 4-hourly. You'd probably get the all clear for further upsides towards the $100 above 97, but we're kind of splitting hairs really. So it's the problem with this bounce, or any bounce at this point, why I'm only doing 5%. It's probably not even that. It's probably less than 5% of my balance has gone into trades today, is because I really am not convinced that the market is going to provide much upside at all. Bounces will obviously happen, just like pullbacks happen in an uptrend. So what we're looking at really is to try and decipher any kind of bullish confirmation bias, isn't it? Really, if we want further upside, and obviously you're in a leveraged position, so you want to hear that from me. But the reason I'm not going crazy or applying tons of my capital into trades at the moment is because the market is not very convincing from a spot perspective how far any of these bounces can go, and actually I'm way more inclined just to sit and wait for further downside. The big bounce for me is going to be around, when Bitcoin hits around that $38,000 zone. That'll be a big bounce. That could take us up to the 44,000. Could even take us up to the previous local high, towards 48. You could see a $10,000 bounce from there. That's a trade worthy of taking. With some serious cash. But these things that we're seeing at the moment, not so much. Because I will go back into Sol for a moment. I just want to put it, this into perspective. Bitcoin is the driver of the market from the top down to where we've wicked down here. That's over the period of 1 week, right? Over 7 days, it's almost down 18%. That's a lot. That's massive, and from doing that, it's kind of allowed for the chart to break a little now, and what we've got is resistances in many places all the way above us, all the way up to around $44,000. So unless Ethereum can break out, and again this is the thing that we're hoping for, if Ethereum breaks out, then excellent extension continuation alt season. We'll call it, do you want to call it 2.0 or 3.0? I mean, the alt season has been going on since October, so or we started an alt season in October. Whether it's continuing now is a different story. So what we're looking at here on Sol is that, yeah, we've got wicks down below 200, 200, 200, and again 200 today. We've moved up each time more or less to the trend line, to the trend line, to the trend line. So I'd be looking for this move up to the trend line. So I think we were looking for 100 like to 101. We haven't death crossed on this one, so that's fine. I'll be cautious on it, but I think the best you could look for realistically as of this very moment in time is a move back up to 101, and that's where a rejection is going to happen from. And if it breaks out, the next target would be like 115, 113, 115. I can't really say that that's where it's going to go, because this is a trend line of resistance, and look, there's short signals all over the 4 hourly as well. But 101 seems realistic, to be honest with you. I think that's where we're going to go. And a breakout, a breakout could easily take us, to a new local high. But target 101 to begin with, right? I don't know where your entry point was. Obviously, you told me your liquidation point, but if that's your entry point, fair play. But exit point for me would be 101, just to keep it real, really. Maybe take 50% off your position at that area. Just take 50% off, because it's a major resistance. Right. Evening, CC. How are you? I'm all right. Where can I place some buy orders for Rose, Root, Naka, and Filecoin? I know that one. Right, so let's have a look. So, Rose, USDT. Boop. Root. I think we've looked at Naka before. I don't remember it being here. Oh, yeah, it is here. And USDT. Right, let's have a look at these things then. I mean, buy orders. I'm just going to put it to you now. The buy orders are going to be difficult, really, because if I'm expecting a much more pronounced, long-standing downtrend over a period of months, derived from Bitcoin's price, then as we've seen, I suppose XRP is a good example. XRP. Smashing through all the resistances, hanging down, basically looking rubbish on a daily. The 3-day and the weekly still look okay. But, all this price action down below these levels wouldn't have happened before if it wasn't for Bitcoin losing the plot. It's actually was quite a bullish chart, really, but Bitcoin pushed it down. So this is always going to be the problem. So to try and look at major targets on these charts, especially things like this. I mean, look at this one. This was gone from 3-4 cents all the way up to 15 cents. So this one's basically done an incredible rally, and I imagine it was very overheated at the time. So close to a 300% rally on Rose, bearish divergence all the way down. This one looks like it's falling and giving it all up, really. And this is the fear I have with altcoins, especially the ones that have rallied so far. So outside of the usual techniques, being moving averages, this one's trading at 14 million, which is not too bad. I'll be looking at this area here as a decent place to try it from, which is just short of 9 cents, really. 9 cents. This one just below it, we're talking increments here, which is about 7.6 cents or thereabouts. These tops, this support, and also currently down here at the 200 exponential as well, which would be good. Now, obviously, that's where the 200 exponential lives right now. It could easily, and it probably will, continue up into this area. So over time, these are going to be different. But from a horizontal perspective, that's where I'll be looking for. First major target, about 9 cents. Second major target, like 7.5 cents. But moving averages are my preference. They haven't really helped this one too much. The Bollinger Band clearly was a resistance, but and now that so I'll be looking at this one just coming down, and I wouldn't want to buy it until it comes down to at least the 9 cents. And the main thing to think about with altcoins is that I'm not particularly interested in buying any of them really, for the long haul or even for a trade really, until we've seen a much larger continuation down for Bitcoin. And if that means Bitcoin goes up like it is doing now, which again is something that we were toying with the idea of all this, that a bounce is overdue, especially for Ethereum. But I say it I've been saying it since December. What's a 10% move? What's a 50% move to the up? When really the best sort of trade is to sit back, watch and wait, and grab some serious lows, much lower than this, and then get in on the main part of a bull market, which is the bull run, which will take place, likely start to see the signs of that towards the end of this year and the majority of 2025. I'm buying into those lows, which means that we just hibernate really for a good portion of this year, maybe even throughout the entire summer. But there will be some big bounces along the way. I would be looking at this as these areas, but I'd also be focused mostly on Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin doing? Is Bitcoin at $38,000? Is it? Okay. If that's the case, is Rose all the way down here at 200 exponential? Is it? Brilliant. Okay, we've got symmetry across the board. Major support over here. Major support, even a V-shaped recovery type support over here. That would be good. But if you were desperate to get in on this, I suppose the first entry is going to be here. I don't fancy it, to be honest. Not for me. Root up 7% today. Not bad, right? So that is a decent move. Why is that? Probably because of its illiquidity. It's small volume. We've seen it in the past, haven't we? So this big wick here, massive wick. Another big wick here. So it's not respecting the charts, and not as far as I can see, not on the daily at least, not on the 4-hourly. What about the weekly? Any respect of the chart on the weekly? Probably not, but we'll see. No, not really. Moving average is acting more like a guide than any kind of major support. Is there any reason to have found a bounce at that exact level, or is it just responding with the market? I wouldn't really say that this area was important at all for this chart, really. I think this is just an idea that this is an altcoin that's moving through association with the rest of the market and is emphasizing any kind of move up or down because it's basically illiquid, and that's not too bad. That's not bad volume for something on KuCoin, for instance. We see a lot worse than that. That's tradable volume, but it's still pretty low. It wouldn't take much to move this market, to move this chart, and it clearly has done it many times in the past, towards the up and to the down. If you're going to base it around the chart, though, you'll be looking for it to fizzle out around $7.59, which is its Bollinger Band top. But if you do break that, then probably V-shaped recovery up to $8.88 and maybe a bit more. The momentum is kind of looking like it wants to break out as well. So if we get a breakout from here, we're already seeing a breakout from here. It would not be unsurprising to see by the end of the weekend that we see at that level up there. Am I going to do it? No. I'm not going to do that. But that's what the chart says. Naka. I like the name. Let's have a look to see if the chart's any good. So Naka is doing a big old consolidation here on the daily. It's been consolidating for a long time. It's also been pumping for a very, very long time. It's been very long lasting. A huge 6 cents all the way up to, wow. So that is a big one. This is one of the bigger ones out there, isn't it, really? I think it's consolidating through necessity. What's the trading volume? 2.5 million at the moment. That's fine. As far as this day is concerned, it's still consolidating. Breakouts on this would be above $1.56. So your Bollinger Band center. Let's have a look at the 4-hourly. So the 4-hourly is really picking up pace to the downside now with a major resistance. I'd probably be looking $1.56 again, 200 exponential. So this is it's got the chance to move up to that level, but I would be looking for a rejection around there too, to be honest. File. Okay, let's have a look at Filecoin. So Filecoin's about to incur its death cross, which means that a retest of that is perfectly normal. And this is obviously only a 4-hourly, and that's up here at $5.78. That'd be okay. Looking for pullbacks. Okay, so the 200 exponential is sitting at $4.66 and the 200 simple at $4.31. So those are entry points, golden cross retests. Let's just measure that for fun, just to see what that looks like, what that really means. It's 12%. What's the size of a $38,000 zone? 9-10%. So I find it hard to imagine that this will go down at more or less at the same speed as Bitcoin. But if it did, around these two areas would be worthy of a bid. First one, again, $4.72 roughly. The next one around $4.32 roughly. These are trending up. These would be golden cross retests. These are bullish. So you'd be looking for a bounce. The bounce possibly going to a V-shaped recovery, but each resistance would be one worthy of selling, especially given the idea that we are consolidating in this market. And the first one would be just more or less where we lost today. The 50 exponential, effectively, which is what, $5.62. Bollinger Band Center, just around $6. And again, they're going to start downtrending too, those moving averages. I mean, the Bollinger Band's already curling over, so it's not a good look for it, but that's what's going on. So these areas down here will be the best bids. Yeah, that's all I can say for those ones, really. Let's get rid of these. I'm sure someone will ask for XRP soon. Right. How do? Can we have a look at some ETH pairs tonight and take your pick? All right, cool. So yeah, that no doubt thinking about bots really, Ethereum bots. I imagine that's why we're looking for that. Hey CC, aka the Warren Buffett of crypto. Yeah, if only. Could you be so kind to look at Luna C, USDT, and may as well go for a full speculative USDT. Maybe we'll see it repeg again. Maybe, but I think that's a pipe dream. Right, so Luna C. Am I right in this? Was it Luna C? That was that rapper from Bradford, wasn't it? Luna C USDT. And was it US? Oh, I forgot now. USTC, wasn't it? I'm surprised they still allow this trading, to be honest. But yeah, nothing should surprise us anymore. Right, so yeah, we're hoping for a repeg of this, are we? For some strange reason. I mean, I find it hard to imagine. I can't really get my head around anyone really wanting to trade it, to be honest. Given what we're seeing though on this pair particular, there has been a big pump and there's been a nice tidy consolidation. Bollinger Band's being respected, 200 exponential being respected, which is also part of a golden cross retest. Didn't really have much follow through, rejection on the 50 here, so there is rhythm on this chart, I have to say. What's the trading volume? 14, almost 15 million. What's going on in the world? Why would people do this? Why would people throw money into this? But I suppose, you know, there has been some money made, but I mean, Jesus, why would anyone do that? 4 hourly. So the 4 hourly just makes it look a lot worse. Since the death cross, we had retests and a big retest and a big drop, retest, drop, retest, retest, drop. So to be fair, I wouldn't really want to trade it until the 4 hourly reclaims these two moving averages. And this gives us a price of, well, we'll call it just above 3 cents, really. I don't think there's any chance of it repegging. I don't really understand why or how it could. The weekly's got relevance to it as well. So you're looking for entry points. I suppose 2.5 cents would be one. The weekly Bollinger Band is held as well around 2.37 cents, which is where it is right now. Rejection on the 7 simple this week. I mean, I would probably say stay away from it. Why? I don't know why it did this, but it did. Just have to accept it. Money flow index has clearly peaked. What was it peaking at? 97. So it's kind of wanting to get out. If we're going to see some sort of bid on it, we've probably already seen it. And I think given the 4 hourly looking so dire, you wouldn't want to trade it until we've at least started to develop some form of uptrend on the 4 hourly. I'd just leave it alone, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, leave it alone. Luna C, basically doing the same thing. So yeah, death cross, retest down. These are just death cross retests that are basically telling us that this is a downtrend in the making, starting on the 4 hourly, likely to progress and overlap into the daily. Daily's still holding on to that golden cross, which is fine, but so it's a battle of the time frames really. We're ticking down here below the 0 point on the MACD to suggest further downside. Now that's also what the 4 hourly says, and I know that this stands as a support right now, but I wouldn't trust it. Why would anyone trade this? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I mean, it's like going to a restaurant and getting food poisoning and then going back the next day. Do you know what I mean? Why would you do that? I just don't get it. It's just too much risk involved. But yeah, I would focus mostly on the 4 hourlies than these dailies, to be honest with you. As much as I want things to bounce from here, I'd love to see this bounce. If it does bounce, this is where it would definitely bounce from based on the daily. But focus on the 4 hourlies. The 4 hours telling a different story. And you'd want to get above these guys and close above these guys on a 4 hourly. So that means closures above all the zeros 13796. So it's 200 simple and exponential. You got to get above those really to expect anything special. There's so many other things to trade other than these. I just leave them alone. They've proven to be like pretty. I mean, it's actually, you know, there's just absolutely no point in trading it. Right. Let's have a look at the rest. Hi CC. What exchanges do you suggest? Preferably ones that does GBP and alt pairs instead of going through USDT, UK based. Well, the exchanges I use are probably the same ones that you use. So primarily it's Binance, obviously, just for liquidity purposes. Qcoin doesn't have that capacity, GBP, or not that I know it does anyway. So if you do want to sell to pounds, you can do it through Binance. Binance is the king. If you wanted to do it a different way, because if you're talking about trading, that's different. If you're trading, I wouldn't advise using like pounds or dollars because the trading fees are higher. This is why Tether is really useful and good. The liquidity's there. You can get in, get out, get in, get out. But if you're looking to sell and go into pounds, like I've said in the previous weeks, and sit in a fiat currency for because if we're going to sit on the sidelines on the market for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months or whatever it's going to take for this consolidation to finish, then you don't want the added sort of risk of all your hard-earned money sitting in a stable coin, which is probably going to be fine. 99% chance it's going to be fine, but there's that 1% chance that it's actually not going to be fine and something actually happens to Tether. The reason I think that is something worth thinking about anyway, just to put it out there, is that now we've got institutions involved massively with ETFs. We've got Bitcoin, obviously, is going to start consolidating now, and you're going to start getting a load of FUD, right? You're dealing with BlackRock, who have basically got control over the entire world. BlackRock are much bigger than Tether, right? And if you really want to bring the price of Bitcoin down and crypto, if you want to destroy it all, the best way to do it is with Tether. Go after Tether. Yeah? Tether have probably got a hell of a lot of skeletons in their closet, right? They're almost certainly going to be massively dodgy, right? Are they sitting out in the Cayman Islands somewhere? So I'm just putting it to you now that I imagine that's one of the reasons you're thinking of doing it. But trading with fiat currencies is pretty crap because the trading fee is like 1% on Coinbase, maybe even more. And but if you wanted to sell to fiat currency, then Coinbase you might as well, Crypto.com might as well. I use Swissborg, but I've got like an upgraded account, you see, because of the amount of stuff I've got in there. So my trading fees are very low, like 0.5%, I believe, at the moment. But it's still not enough for me to think, I'll trade on here. It's still a lot of money. 0.5% is a lot. As you trade with Tether, it's minuscule, But yeah, if I were you, I'd find the best one for you. Swissborg and Coinbase are probably the best to sell to pounds and stay there. But they're not trading platforms. That's investment. That's different. That's why they slap you in the face with a 1% or more, trading fee for converting to sterling or dollars or whatever. But Binance will do it for you. But again, still the same. You get a larger whack in the face from trading fees. Right, SPA, USDT, and Altinium stock. Oh right, okay. Let's have a look. SPA. Ooh, trading at a massive $71,000 in a 24-hour period. It's got to be good. I mean, the 4 hour is pretty rubbish, just like a lot of these alts moved up after the death cross for a classic retest of that and then back down again. So this is the opposite of what bull markets look like. Change of behaviour with a death cross, retest of the death cross and continuation down. Little bit of bullish divergence, 1, 2. I'd like to see another drive of that. If you're looking for another retest, probably only really target the 50 exponential on that one. Let's check the daily to see if we're holding on for dear life on any major moving average. We are. We definitely are. So look, we've hit and so far neatly tucked our little neck into that 200 simple moving average. which is strange for a chart that trades for peanuts, basically, to see it respect that. We might even consider it to be a coincidence that it bounced from there, but I mean, it has bounced from there. So if you're going to get a bounce from there, the best you could hope for would be all the way up to the Bollinger Band center, 0.628 of a cent. Let's have a look up here, because this is a bearish chart, obviously, really. You're just hoping for a V shape on this one, because that's what you'd expect, but it's not, in my opinion, a bull market anymore. So a bull market is when, you know, the market's healthy. The market, as far as I can consider, has peaked already. So I'll be skeptical that this is going to be the area that we bounce from. If this all happened, you know, maybe a couple of months ago, I'd be way more bullish on this moving up. But I don't see how something like this is able to outperform the overall market. If the market goes down, this is always the problem with Bitcoin. You can call it a problem, or you can call it a blessing in disguise, really. So, you know, if Bitcoin is bullish or static or stable, then we treat altcoin charts with a little bit more honesty. You know, treat them, take them on face value, basically. But if Bitcoin has effectively peaked, really, and we're looking for a major consolidation, we've got a lot of reasons why we would expect one, then to look at this for a V-shaped recovery is a bit naive, I think. Right, there's the cat. Right, I've got to get the cat out of here. Hang on. There you go. There, right, I'm back. He's not long for this world, that cat. Right, so yeah, like I say, I'd love to see a V-shaped recovery, or at least a decent bounce from here, and you might get one, but base all your trades around these two bad boys here. Bitcoin bouncing from 10 exponential on the weekly, but more importantly, Ethereum bouncing from here, and expect the rejection around 2,500, 2,600. I just don't fancy it. Like I say, I really just don't fancy it. Captain Hindsight might tune back in about 2 weeks and go, obviously it was going to bounce from there, and it takes a lot of balls to buy it. But I would normally buy something like this if the overall market was more favourable. I just don't feel like it is, which is, you know, why I sold everything like a week ago. Right, so this one is Alt. Let's have a look at this one. Right, so fine collapse. I'd be interested to know what this is all about, but so far, it's pretty hardcore. 29%, you know, in like a week. Losing, you know, Bollinger Bands, losing everything. We had a lot of overheated reads over here. Bearish divergence all the way up. Looks relatively finished to me. Major bounces would be around here, which is just above 6, maybe even 740. Let's have a look at the weekly. 10 exponential, 812, 640, $5. $5 would be worth waiting for. It's your Bollinger Band center. Obviously, the overheated reads on a money flow index over here at 97, almost 98 for a stock. That's a hell of a lot. You don't normally see that sort of thing. So it's finished over here, I would say. The last time we saw something like this, which we haven't really. This was overheated, but not to the same extent. We continued all the way down. Yeah, I suppose that was in 2022. Prior to that, we had this move over here, big overheated reads, basically came down. So I'll probably just expect this one to continue with its, well, it is a down-only chart, isn't it, really? Let's face it. This is a down-only chart, so I'd leave it alone. And if you wanted to pick it up, you could hope for a higher low around the weekly 20. But it would be a bit of a gamble given the overall direction of this chart, which is wrecked city, basically. It's absolute wrecked city. So it says it's more. I think it's more likely to continue with its general behaviour, which is only down. But the $5 bid over a period of weeks, maybe months, worthy of a shot, really. How and what platform do you use to convert USD and hold it? So I do it in Swissborg, and the only reason I use Swissborg is because I get good trading fees for it, really. So it's the cheapest way for me to do it. So I just send it all over there in Tether form and switch it to USD. You can switch it to anything, but because I favour over the long term the Dixie going up more than going down, I chose, even though last week we looked at the pound, and actually the pound seemed like actually surprisingly good. Yeah, I still think that the Dixie is going to bounce over the most part of this year, so I'd rather hold that. But yeah, I do it on Swissborg. I'm sure you can do it. I'm pretty sure you can do it at crypto.com. I only use Swissborg because I get cheaper trading fees to do it there. That's the only reason. Right. Have I missed anything here? No. Hi mate, can you look at UMA, LRC, ERN, and KNC? Right, so UMA, LRC. Right, let's see if I can remember these. I've got a mind like a goldfish here. LRC, USDT. And I've forgotten them already. UMA, ERN. And what was the last one? Let's bring it back. KNC. Right. So starting on the daily, ooh, it looks like a pile of shit over here. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean that it can't bounce. We've got a death cross that's basically confirmed here at 70 cents, which means that we could easily see a move up to that, to see a retest of that. You've seen how that's happened a lot already, just on this stream on the 4-hourlies. This is what we're expecting to see on dailies over a period of weeks and months, and this one might be one of the first ones to do it. I don't think we've seen any daily altcoins make daily death crosses. They're all still very much looking technically bullish, holding on to. But a lot of them are actually. Imagine we're around this area now, aren't we? For a lot of these altcoins, this is what we're kind of looking at. You got the 200 exponential, the 200 simple. You'd expect a reaction from it. This one did almost do a V shape from where it was lost from this previous high, and then back down. So this is why I'm afraid of the market and getting too bullish or even too cocky on it, really, because this is all I'll be looking to expect. It might be a bit of a, this might be something just to take on board what we should be expecting. As much as I'd love to see things hit here and bounce and go on for new highs, this one didn't. It didn't even over here. Look, it's 200 simple moving exponential, up, down, and now we've got death cross. So in standard form, you would expect a move into it to get rejected from it. So that's obviously a move, an upwards move, isn't it? That's obviously a bullish move to the tune of 13%. But what I keep trying to reiterate is, what's a 13% move in real life? Nothing, And I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but we've done really well over the last 12 months. We've made hundreds of percent. Some of you have probably done even more than that. And what's the point in trying to chase a 10 to 13% move in a descending chart? A chart which is wanting to go down probably for a prolonged period of time, and you're looking to try and get cocky on a potential bounce. I'm not feeling that. Look, the crypto market has a small cycle in comparison to other markets, right? We're halfway through it now, which means we've got 2 years or less before it reaches its all-time highs. We're lucky that we've managed to sell pretty much the peak. I'm not trying to sound cocky or anything. I'm quite grateful to the ETF for marking the top. We assumed that was going to be the case, and so we sold more or less the top. And now what we're looking to see is a deep, long, drawn-out consolidation that's going to take a handful of months maybe, and then we're going to redeploy all our capital, because again, the cycles are short. That'll give us maybe a 18-month to maybe even just a 12-month period where we see all our entry points go up hundreds of percent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10x's. Not going to do it from here. 13% versus several 100% is not attractive to me. But yeah, that's what it looks like he wants to do. Even the 4-hourly is asking for a move to towards 67, 68. But I do not fancy that. This is nothing. It's just not worth it. Same thing really for ERN here. So we've got the death cross. Retested it at the time. Retested it over here. Simple's got retest, but it's just pushed us down and down and down. We've made a new low here on the wick basis. Not much of a follow through. Trading volume just short of 1 mil. At best, you'd be looking for a retest of $2, maybe even $2.07. Let's check the daily then to see what that looks like. Probably not got any death crosses yet. No, it's doing its golden cross retest. So look, what's your favourite time frame? 4 hourly or daily? If you're going to get a move from here, the daily does suggest that this is it. Try it. Try it. Is there any reason for it? Well, there is a single driver bullish divergence, and there is also on the money flow index. So that's not bad. So look, I know this sounds contradictory. The 4 hourly is offering 13% move or so, which is not 13% move, but thereabouts. It's looking for a move back up to $2 or so. About 10% move. I can see that happening here as well on the daily. So there is an upside move up towards the $2 zone. If you break and close $2, given the divergence that we see here, then yeah, maybe we make a little higher, maybe 220. But I still would say let's face facts. Until we see Ethereum break out from here, I think Bitcoin's also going to play a major role, and a rejection around here as well, around the $44,000 zone. Trying to trade ERN based on what we see is, well, I think it's just dangerous, really. I didn't see that coming. I'm all up for altcoins, right? You know me, I love an altcoin. You know, that's where the real money gets made. But you do have to play it safe in times like this. Like, I don't think this is the rotation event that we saw in 2021. There was other reasons for that. Altcoins hadn't moved until 2021. Bitcoin had done a 300% rally on its own, reached a significant peak, and then it rotated into altcoins, which were trading at peanuts at the time, which benefited their green candles massively. That's not what we've got at the moment. What we've got is basically Bitcoin leading the market, Bitcoin peaking the market, and if it's anything to go by, it's very much similar to the 2019 bull run when the bull market started. Why am I doing it in such a slow, drawn out way? It's going to be similar to this, and so we're looking for a consolidation similar to this. Long, drawn out, sideways, movement down, and this consolidated from the peak to the low about 60% or so. I don't think that's as deep as we'll go this time, but I don't think there'll be any kind of alt season or rotation right now. Doesn't mean that some alts won't pop. Obviously, this one's popped. Right, so we see these sort of things all the time. I don't know why this has happened. It's not normal. It's absolutely not normal. So over the last 2 days, this one's run 230% or something like that, which is stupid. It's ridiculous. You'll have to check Twitter to see why that happened. I mean, we're massively overheated already, but I probably would have said that yesterday. This I like to do this for those who aren't Patreon members, who are just tuning in for this freebie stream. But I like to do this, right? This is something I always do when these moves happen. So imagine that we were looking at this chart and we were going, right, okay, let's apply the technical analysis to this chart, which is, again, something that we should always do. And we'd say, right, well, this chart's wiggling around. It's obviously had its death crosses and it's getting its rejections, and I would expect it to go down. But I do have a feeling that over the next 24 hours, it's actually going to go whoa, 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 whoa. You see what I'm talking about? There's no reason for that on the chart, right? The chart hasn't told us that was going to happen. It just did. In fact, the chart told us it was going to do the opposite of that. And for some reason, it's just gone straight up to the bloody moon. It's not relevant anymore. Whatever's caused this move has broken the chart. Somebody made a load of money, but at this point right now, the chart needs to be left the hell alone and forgotten about. I don't know why it did that. Sometimes these things happen. Nothing should go up 166% in a day, and if they do, the chances of them coming down are more likely than going back up again. So I'll just leave it alone. Let's be realistic. So here we go. This is a bit more realistic. Continuation down on the 4 hourly. Death crosses all over the place. Boosh. Overheated. Overlapped the 200 exponential. There was a chance, but no. And all we've got now is continuation down. Any bull div? No, not really. Not yet. Let's take it to a daily. Any major supports? Yeah. Golden cross retests of the simple moving average kind. A little bit of bullish divergence if you candle body base it, but I would still say it's probably finished, to be honest with you. if you had the big balls and you didn't particularly care about sustaining losses, then you could try it. But I just wouldn't really. I just wouldn't. The size of the pullbacks on these are so big that I just think the confidence has been knocked out of the market. It has certainly for me. But like I say, we sold we sold everything a week ago, and I'm very much into the idea of preserving gains really, and planning for the much bigger move later on down the line. But if there was going to be a move, you could make the case that there's going to be a move now, and it would get rejected around the 26 cent zone, which is really not much of a move at all. So maybe an eye for 26 cents on that. Outside of that, I would say I think it's all hopium really. Again, I will flip bullish for the short to medium term if Ethereum can break out of this it's a symmetrical triangle is what it is. If we use the Bollinger Band, which is what it's been supported from here, it's a symmetrical triangle. If you break above there, so let's just say closures above 2,600, then we can temporarily flip bullish again on altcoins, and we can entertain the idea of an alt season, a continuation of the alt season. But until then, this bounce is nothing. It's really nothing. It's not much at all. Surely I'm not the only person who likes this. Yeah, well, normally I don't have these streams. We do them Tuesdays and Fridays. This is a Patreon stream, but because people aren't tuning in anymore, because I assume they've sold up really, and I've told them to hibernate. I thought, just to keep it going, I'll open this one up to the public, and if you like what you see, you can join the Patreon. Thanks for doing it, CC. No big deal. Like I say, I thought I'd open it up to the public just this one time. I think every few months I do one of these, but generally this is just for Patreon members. Right. Hello. Can you have a look at Trias and ADA, please? Yeah, let's have a look at that. I saw that this, because I have this on my favourites list. I saw that it had taken a big walloping smack in the face today. And ADA, this has not been looking the pillar of health. But remember, these guys have gone up a lot. Okay, so this is not how I remember seeing it. Maybe it was yesterday I was looking at it, right? Yeah, so this is wanting more. So what we're working on here is a bullish engulfing candle, surprisingly, and a V-shaped recovery is what we're looking at here. So this bounce on the 50 exponential is really good already, clearly, and that should easily take us to $14 really. So that's actually quite a move there, and based on the technicals is what you'd expect. So we're battling with these areas. We haven't death crossed out of here yet, so not too bad. Interesting stuff, actually. Seeing the 4 hourly find support around this area leads me to believe there must be something going on somewhere along the lines around that area. There just does not appear to be. Fair enough. So it is based on that 50 exponential on the daily. Fair enough. Okay, so not all altcoins are created equal. This one does look quite good. So first resistance is going to be around 12.37. Second resistance is going to be around basically $14. Then beyond that, 16 and above. Wouldn't surprise me if something like this does shoot up and do a V-shaped recovery. This has been talk of the town for a little while, hasn't it, really? And I suppose if you're going to get a bounce, it's either a 50 or a 200. And I know we've been saying that for all these coins. Dailies are pushing the 200s at the moment, whether it's simples or exponentials, and they're bouncing from them. And I'm saying don't bother with it. It might just end up being a nothing burger. But occasionally, you might find something that does 14% bounce, which is what it's doing here. Again, 14% is good, and we all look at that, especially people who are holding on for dear life, or have bought the Bitcoin top or whatever, and they look at something like that, and they go, oh, I wish I'd have bought that, and they FOMO into it to try and recoup losses. I know what people are like. We all feel that, right? Everybody feels that. That's human nature, isn't it? I'm down on my investment. I'm down on my trades. I need to get back to an area where I can feel a little more comfortable within my losses. And you see something like this bouncing. Someone on Twitter will say how good it is, and then before you know it, you've got your confirmation bias and you're pushing it up, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy and it does go up. But this one does actually look good on the technicals, but you won't catch me trading it. If this was the only chart in the world I had to trade, I still wouldn't have done it, because my expectation is that, yeah, of course things can bounce from here, and we are seeing some bounces now. Ethereum's not broken out. Bitcoin's down 16% or whatever it is. And when this one finally does run out of steam, this will get retested again and broken, and then we'll come back down here, which is a way more attractive area. And it would even still be a bullish chart when we do. But yeah, I suppose this is a good look for it so far. You get a closure above the candle body of yesterday. That's a bullish engulfing candle. And then you would target probably the Bollinger Band Center, really. It's about $14. So it's actually quite good, really. But wait for the closure on the day. Revisit the charts tomorrow. But given the Dixie coming down a little bit now, and probably wants a little bit further down in the short term, probably does favour further upside between today and tomorrow for altcoins and Bitcoin, really. That's normally how it works. If you see a closure in the red on the Dixie, a daily at least, especially a weekly, then you would assume that crypto has got free reign to move up for the next 24 hours and sell off on Sunday maybe, but we'll see. Right, so ADA. So there's no real rhythm on this chart on this daily. Hopefully there's something going on the 4-hourly, because that's really not much going on. All right, it's a standard downtrend forming, really. So death cross, exponential, death cross obviously here on the simples, rejection, and then rejection here. So this one looks like it just wants to keep going down anyway. Now, it doesn't mean that it can't come up to test the 200 exponential, which is 54 cents, maybe even the 57 cents. But this is still a downtrend on the 4-hourly. If you're looking for a bit more of an appropriate entry, and again, this will be something to look and watch and wait for if and when Bitcoin hits the $38,000 zone. If ADA is at any one of these two supports, 41 at the moment and 35 over here, we can extend this as well, which is also 35, 36, then that would be a decent place for a bounce, because I'll be looking for a really big bounce at 38. And if we've managed to come down on something like ADA and it hits, let's just say, this trend line here with a moving average at the same time, you'll be targeting a very large move up to wherever the Bollinger Band is at the time. It's not going to be up here, so it won't be 50%, but it could easily be 20, 30%, wherever that is at the time. Right now, I would probably leave it alone. We've gone all this way, no one's asked for XRP yet. What's going on? Right. I see DGB USDT in long accumulation on the weekly, yet to see any strength. Would you concur? Let's have a look. Does something like DGB even accumulate? Right. I'm not sure which has got the longest chart, but I imagine Binance is probably the better chart, because price, volume, and time is all about the. That's where we trade. So, right, it might require a log scale on this one, because it's... Well, if you're looking for accumulation, you're looking for long-term divergences, aren't you? So let's switch it to a log, and we'll get rid of the Bollinger Bands, because they just mess everything up. So we've got low, low. So that is so far the low, and we've got divergence. We do have some divergence. The MACD is the main thing to think about when you're talking about accumulation. And it has got an accumulation vibe to it, mostly green histogram, slowly made its way up to and above the 0 point. But I think it just happened too late for it, unfortunately. So if you're looking for accumulation, we do have a range. There is a range here. There is a serious low down here at 0.5, 0.6, which isn't too far. Considering we're expecting Bitcoin to come down a bit more, we're talking another 26% move down from here. I wouldn't feel too uncomfortable putting a buy order down there for something that could be held for the long term. But I don't really feel like an accumulation is what is happening from this area. I just think it was too late to the party. And there's loads of alts that are like this. It's too late to the party. And yeah, even on the daily here, it's just like all the others, losing the bullish momentum, the bullish vibe. And I imagine the 4-hour is going to look like all the others, are they? Yeah, death cross, retest, down and down. So this makes us think in the short term, maybe 8.86%, maybe 0.89% is on the cards, which is not a bad move, but the trend is basically down for me. And yeah, stick an entry point down there, that's fine. We could easily make a new low on that. There's so much FUD, it's not even been unleashed into the market yet. We've only just started downtrending. You know what's going to happen. People are going to start, crypto's dead. Miners aren't making any money. This exchange is illiquid. None of that's happened yet. It will happen. It's going to happen. And when that happens, it'll knock the price down below supports. It's usually the way it happens. I'm not saying that the market is rigged, but all markets are effectively rigged. You know, we know that. And so you just got to, I suppose, think about it from that perspective as well. Like, we're assuming, quite rightly, a downtrend is happening now. Not calling it a bear market, it's just a consolidation, a reset. And when that's happening, everybody wants it. Everybody wants their orders filled, and if you've got the power, you would use it, and you will knock the price down. And the best place to do it is at supports. So yeah, fair play if you want to buy into it. I wouldn't think badly of you putting a buy order in 25% lower from where we're at right now, but I just think it's one of those markets. Just how long is a piece of string? We don't know how long the consolidation is going to be. We've not suffered any FUD yet. The halving's not happened yet. So once the halving's done and the Fed start to lower rates, which is obviously bullish, but I think it will have a negative impact on the market because I think it's priced in. Then all these altcoins, as much as we want, we're looking to scrape. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel, basically, aren't we, for any kind of gains? And I just don't want to scrape the bottom of the barrel. I don't think there's any need. We should have all made plenty of cash over the last 12 months. The bottom of the barrel is not appealing to us anymore. We want a full barrel, and that's going to be later on in the year. Right. Hello, CC. Could you have a look at INJ, please? Curious about short, medium term. Let's have a look. So this was one of the best things of this run. We only got a small portion of it because, again, we're super cautious traders. I say we, me. All these lines were sell orders. They were all gone. All sell orders gone. All gone. But yeah, the buy order was down here. So fair play. But yeah, rather than playing that game, this is what I could have made. Let's have a look at what's going on right now. So it is bouncing from a 50 exponential moving average. It was front run from it actually, so it's even more bullish. But all good things come to an end. And I imagine, not that I've checked, but I would imagine the money flow index is pretty high, peaky. It's not actually. I was wrong. I was expecting this to be in the 90s. Didn't even get that far. Right, so it was quite high anyway, but it's not too bad. This one can go further. I actually think this one has the chance to move further. The 7 simples is what's been supported on right this very moment in time, which is normally the last stage of any run. That's why I have it here. It's like the last stage. If people really want to get hold of something and they can't be bothered or afford to wait, they pick it up on the 7 simple. When something's really bullish, you see it get picked up on that, and this is getting picked up. It is on the weekly though, so bear that in mind. Let's have a look at the 4 hourly. Is that flipped bearish? No, it's not. So the 4 hourly is still technically bullish compared to the others. I still don't trust it. I still wouldn't fancy it. I still think, regardless of how bullish the charts are, we're going to follow Bitcoin and we're going to follow Ethereum, and neither of this is obviously. I'm pretty sure Bitcoin's found its top. Ethereum could continue on a little higher, but we want to see the breakout. Until we see those things, we should only assume bounces are just like lame bounces, and they just fizzle out, and they're not worth buying really. And as much as this says you can buy me now, and the daily says you can buy me now on the 50, and the weekly says you can buy me now on the 7, I still don't think it's worth trying it, to be honest with you. So short term, medium term, I'm expecting this to break down, and the next major area is going to be all these areas that were previous resistance. $25, $17, maybe even lower, but I would just leave it alone. This one has done massive moves. I think this is probably the biggest mover of all the altcoins, generally speaking, if you go all the way back to where it started from. And I remember making videos of it when it looked like this. you'll have to check my YouTube. But I remember making a video saying this chart, for whatever reason, is what you would expect to see on something like Investopedia. It's doing exactly what you'd want it to do, or what you'd expect it to do. Symmetrical triangle broke down and got continuation because it broke down before the apex. Rising wedge broke down, unfortunately, into area of support. Blah, 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 blah. And we were talking about it at the time, saying this is actually, I don't know why it's so neat and tidy, but it is. So, what I'm trying to say is, yes, a bounce can happen from here, and actually it can continue based on its own chart. It is the weekly, the daily, and the 4-hourly that suggest that a bounce from here is a place to buy it from, and a good idea. But when you stand back from all of that and go, hang on a minute, what's the driver? What's the driving force? Bitcoin and Ethereum, the dominant players of the market, neither of which are particularly bullish at this very moment in time. Is INJ ever going to be able to is it going to just take over for whatever reason? Is it going to push up higher while everything else goes down? I don't think so. I don't think it will. And so for that, it's a no-go as well for me. But look, if you bought it from there, based on its own chart, if it was the only chart in the world and it wasn't relying on Bitcoin or Ethereum, then yeah, I suppose you would expect it to push up one further move up, really. Hi, first time here. Yeah, so Gordon, just to put it out there, I don't do this normally. This is a Patreon thing. I let the public loose on the stream as a treat. But this is something we do twice a week on the Patreon. So if you want to join, sign up. But otherwise, yeah, this is just a rare little treat. Hi CC, first time here. I'm a holder, not a trader, but do you think Algo is still good for a 2 to 3 year hold? Thanks for what you do. Well, I'll just put it to you now. I hope it bloody is, because I'm holding it. Yeah, I'm a big holder of that, and I hope it is going to. My problem with Algo is the SEC, and I think the SEC wanted to basically shoot all these really decent blockchains with proper utility. I think the SEC are going to get kicked in the teeth at some point, because I'm sure most of you, like myself, can see it for what it is. They're not really doing anyone any favors unless they're basically wanting lower prices for particularly valuable blockchains, which I think is what has happened here. I always say it, but why not go after all the hundreds of piles of shit that's in crypto? Why go after the ones who are taking blockchain seriously? Why go for Algo? Why go for Atom? Why go for Matic? These are decent projects that are doing real things with real utility, with actual teams. Why are they the culprits and not, Hex and all these other piles of shit that are clearly dodgy? Why not go for them? I'll tell you why. Well, I assume why. Because they want those things lower prices so their best mates can fill their boots. It just seems obvious to me. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but at some point you do have to tune into Sanity FM and go, yeah, that is very odd, isn't it? That isn't quite right. Why are they doing that? I mean, that's just something, it just doesn't add up. Yeah, I'm more than aware, as you all are, that crypto is full of scams and rug pulls and dodgy people and all kinds. But, it's also, there's a small minority of real life, utility and future technology here. But for the most part, it is a pile of shit, isn't it, crypto? Let's face it. And none of those guys, none of the piles of shit got done. It was only the real ones. Seems a little strange to me. I use it as a counter indicator. It's like Cramer, isn't it? It's like Jim Cramer. Anything he says, you do the opposite. Anything that the SEC want to do, I imagine they're doing it for a reason. So look, I hope that Algo reclaims its former glory and then some. It seems hard to imagine at this exact price right now, but look, it's found a significant lower than I thought it was going to do, and it's just going to take time, really, based on the chart. Every time I look at it, actually, it didn't look too bad the last time I looked at it, so let's have a little look. We might as well, rather than listen to me ramble. it didn't look all that bad. I was eyeing it up for a potential decent bounce, actually, based on this horizontal and a 200 exponential sitting below it. So maybe around the 16-cent zone would be a worthy place to try for a bounce. But obviously you're talking long term, and it's got a lot of room to make up. But it did it in the past, let's face it. It did it in the past. So 16 cent, technically, buy zone. But I think it's realistic to imagine that this one does fall all the way back down between now and the summer, down to 10 cents, where I would probably advise giving it a shot, buying it back again. Right. What else we got here? Anyone in Stronghold SHX? Oh, I don't know about that. Shall we have a look at it then? Never heard of it. Not on here, so it must be a real turd. It's not on the major exchanges. Gate.io. Okay. Right. Okay. Well, we'll leave it there. There's nothing to be said about that. I mean, if you are in it, well done. But there's nothing to be said. It's bullish until it's not. It's the SEC need to look at that. Right, would you have a look at XVG? Yes, I know Verge, back in the olden days. In fact, it had a decent run this last 12 months from what I remember. XVG, USDT. I'm in two minds about these privacy coins. I'm big on Zcash, the idea of Zcash moving. So why not XVG? Yes, I remember this. Don't really know why it did it, but I remember it. So the reason I got two minds about it, I see the value in it, especially with the CBDCs and obviously a multitude of other reasons. But I also think that exchanges might actually be bullied into getting rid of them. Oh, we can't be selling these things. We can't be allowing this because obviously the darknet love it. Monero is a really big one on the darknet, isn't it? So if you ever look at the Bitcoin to Monero trading volume on Binance, it's always huge. But the price never moves. But the volume is massive. So basically says it's money laundering, really. So it's only a matter of time before they get done for that. And then they're told to get rid of privacy coins, in my opinion, which is a shame because there is value in them. So that's probably at that point. Imagine if that happens with Binance and stuff. So they say, we're going to get rid of Monero, we're going to get rid of XVG, going to get rid of Zcash, just because we've been told to, and fair enough. Because you can't complain with that, really, I suppose. I mean, the darknet and crypto go hand in hand, don't they? So if you want to seem like a legit player and you don't want any more SEC people sniffing you out, or even worse, FBI or whoever it is, you'd get rid of them, wouldn't you? They'll still be trading on the exchanges who don't give a shit, who just need the trading volume. They'll still. So there's a chance that these actually do bomb. But on a fundamental level, there's a reason for them outside of the darknet, and they probably will rise on a fundamental level. Based on the chart, though, it's about to get its death cross. Seems relatively unavoidable at this point, and that's a daily death cross. So that's pretty bad luck. Already had its 4 hourlies, and again been knocked down as a result of that. So most altcoins doing the same thing. 4 hourlies suggesting further downside, and you're gonna have to reclaim these areas to begin with to even consider further upside. Really, a move back into it would be a standard move. It's pretty small, pretty crap move that there. So I wouldn't get too excited or hold out for it. Just watch your XRP analysis. All right, okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm believer in XRP, surprisingly, especially now that the SEC have given them the green light. But I think in that I did say that it obviously could, start to make big moves after it makes a new all-time high. But it sounds sensational. People always accuse me of clickbait when I say all this, but it is true. Like, I think that there is a good chance it will do that. And I think the buy orders that I was touting would be, you can try it at 50. But if Bitcoin and crypto continue to consolidate, which I think it is, you'll probably see XRP back down towards 30 again. And I just think it would be too much of a opportunity missed to not buy XRP if and when it gets down to those levels, really. and think about it as an investment and think about it towards the end of a cycle. But yeah, people slag it off, people hate it, but yeah, that's how it goes, and people fail to people fall into the trap of thinking something is something else, right? People are like sheep, actually, and I don't mean any disrespect, because I'm a sheep in many ways. You're a sheep when you don't know about something, so you trust somebody else's opinion more than yours because you happily accept that you don't know enough about it, and rather than learning about it, you go along with what everybody else says because that's normal, that's human behavior. So we're all a sheep to an extent, but I like to think that crypto and just trading in general is something that I'm not a sheep with. I don't watch anybody else's analysis. There's very few people that I would look at in general, and it's not that I don't value their opinion over mine, it's just that I prefer my own opinion, because there's nothing worse than taking a trade based on somebody else's opinion and it going wrong. Do you know what I mean? That'd be awful. I'd rather fuck my own trade up than have somebody go off somebody else's idea and it go wrong. Like, oh, for fuck's sake. So I like to think of myself as not a sheep in this environment, but I'm a sheep in so many. And the problem with crypto is it's full of sheep, and that's fine. And XRP, for some reason, has got a very bad rap. But I always explain this every single time when I make a video on XRP, especially in the short-term trades. And I say, I think something's going to happen here, and everybody slags it off, and then it does the big move, and everyone's like, oh, is it too late to buy? I want to buy. And they basically FOMO into it. They get wrecked, and the people get sad about it because they generally only ever lose. And XRP hasn't made an all-time high in a long, long time. There's obviously reasons for that with the SEC and things, but it will make a new all-time high. I'm pretty confident of it this time round. But what that new all-time high is going to look like, I don't know. We can only speculate. The only reason I was touting ideas like, or it'll go to like $14 or something, is because once the sell orders, once the walls have been broken, it goes there very quick. And XRP is full of sell walls because it's been going down since 2018. So there's huge sell walls all the way up. And it's highly liquid as well. So people can make a lot of money on it. You can trade millions of dollars in a single trade on something like XRP successfully and have your market orders filled. That's why I like it. That's why I like the idea of buying it when it's down low. Not that I'm going to be trading millions, but effectively I'll be trading a lot of money on it. And I need a coin which is, has a good degree of success. It doesn't have to make 100x. I just need to be able to deploy large amounts of capital into something and be able to extract that when the time is right. And the thing with crypto is there's not many options for that, really, because it's generally, at least for the most part, is an illiquid market. So a lot of people don't understand when I make these videos. They think I'm being sensational, but they're all from my own trading perspective. There's a reason. I think XRP is a good buy long term from those lower zones for people who have, let's just say a few $100,000 that they want to put into an altcoin that's going to outperform Bitcoin. That's all trading is, or investing is. Otherwise you just bang it all in Bitcoin, which is a high degree of success. If you want to expose yourself to a little bit more risk and a little bit more reward, you go for altcoins. But again, it's only a little bit more risk and a little bit more reward for something like XRP. I think it's going to outperform Bitcoin, so what's wrong with that? Right, we'll wrap it up in a minute then. So we'll do ICP then, shall we? Where are we? I know BitBoy loves XRP. He comes up on my feed sometimes, when I'm having a bath and I'm looking at shorts or whatever. And I remember him saying on one video, this is ages ago, I remember him saying it, because he was always going on about XRP. I don't know why he loves it so much. He seems to think he's going to do something very special, but I think I don't want to slag other people off, but I don't know how useful he is. But I remember watching this thing, and I was like, wow, other content creators basically say anything, don't they, to get views? I mean, maybe I should go down that route, but I just would feel a bit of an asshole doing it. And I think it's I don't think it does anyone any favors, because we're talking about money here. In the last bull run, I remember, this is when Bitcoin was basically probably around 40,000. We're getting quite close to the end, and my Telegram before it was hacked was quite popular, and I remember people DMing me saying, Bitcoin, I don't know, is at like 50 grand, and people were saying, I'm thinking of remortgaging my house and putting it all in Bitcoin. What do you think? And I'm like, no, don't do it. Jesus Christ, just don't do it. Not because I'm expecting a top, but that is not. When you're dealing with, when you're, I suppose, a public figure talking about money, you are, in a way, love it or hate it, responsible for other people's money. Like, it's not financial advice, but people are going to take it as that, aren't they? So, but I remember Bitboy was saying something. He was saying, I've been told from an inside source, and I can't tell you what it is or who the inside source is that something is going to happen with XRP. And I'm like, what kind of news is that? What kind of a thing to say is that? I know something or I heard something from someone that I can't tell you about or who it is, that something is going to happen. Well, that is about as useful as a bloody chocolate teapot. I mean, but, you know that there's going to be 100,000 people watch that video who go, you know what, that's good enough for me. Bye. Anyway, it's probably why my channel never grows. It's just stayed static. Because you can't sell reality. Reality doesn't sell. No one's bothered about reality. Everybody only really wants hope. People want sensational hope. They would much rather tune into that than they would me talking about how shit a 10% move is, and how to put yourself into cryogenic status throughout the summer and wake up in the third quarter and make some big buys then. That's not gonna. There's only so many times you can say that in a week. Right, ICP then, we'll leave it at that. Right, so 4 hourly is actually, it's losing the plot. It's not death crossed like all the others. This one had a big run towards the end of this, we'll call it alt season. But I think it's given up the game now. Bit of a lame bounce on it right now. Daily's probably going to look relatively good. Yeah, I mean, the daily is offering bounces around 10.20. I still think that this one, just like many altcoins, has finished its run. It went from $3 all the way to $16, and is basically getting ready to start its own downtrend. The best place to think about this, wherever we go to, if we bounce up or go down, is to think about buying it back towards the $7 zone, really, around 7.40 or something. That would be the highest area that you'd ever want to really buy it back from, and it might take a long time to get there. But ICP finally showing that there is a change of behaviour taking place now, and this is hopeful for the long run. Definitely, it's definitely hopeful for the long run. Targets on this over the long run for me would be towards between 40 and 80, which again is a huge difference depending on where you buy it from. Which means that if you buy it around here, you're looking for 500 to 1,000%. By the time this one finishes doing its thing. This again, the SEC shot this one in the face. This one has also been shot in the back by FTX. So it's sustained a lot of damage. And with that, it became a very unpopular coin. Everyone thinks it's a scam. But finally, in what I believe is that the sellers have sold. And I'm pretty sure is that the circulating supply and a total supply are almost equal now. So anyone who ever had it ever has sold it. It's reached its all-time low. I don't think we'll be seeing this again. This would be the first place to think about buying it, and anywhere within here, if we get back into this zone, would just be a buy for what is going to end up being a $40 to $80 coin, based on my expectations anyway. But in the short term, yeah, it's still got people wanting to buy it. You could easily see it bounce up a bit, but I still think it's best to be left alone. Don't want to get caught on the wrong side of a trade at this period in the market. Absolutely not. Because altcoins could easily and probably will see a 50% retrace, I reckon, by over the next 6 months at some point. Right then, I think that will leave it with you there then, guys. Like I say, if you do want to join Patreon, we'll get this sort of thing happens twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. Otherwise, just like and subscribe, and maybe once every 3 or 4 months, I'll do one of these little freebies and you can tune in then. Right, thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy.